What's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're talking about the third and final installation of installing the trolling motor on the kayak. Today, we're talking all about the steering system. We're gonna take the kayak out on the water, test it out, try to catch some fish. All right guys, let's get into it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
All right guys, we got the kayak all loaded up here, ready for this video on the steering system. So it is a work in progress, but this thing works just fine. So let's get into it. How did we do it? And I wanted to make it simple yet easy, and of course modular, just like all the other components. So let's start here at the top. So here's our trolling motor. We've gone over the wiring and everything. Here is this is bracket I bought, of course, on Amazon. This guy you can buy specifically for trolling motors and of course steering systems. So a lot of the videos on YouTube, they have different mechanisms of doing this. So they have the system, and of course the wire goes down into the kayak and then goes up, and a lot of people use the foot pedals up here for the steering. I didn't necessarily want to ruin the foot pedals. I like the foot pedals up there as a nice support for myself. And I didn't want to have to mess anything with the feet. So this bracket bolts on, as you can see, squeezes nice and tight, and all it does is clamp around the trolling motor. So of course it is meant for the Minn Kota, or I think there's another one out there that it says it's made for, but link in the description below. I like this bracket because it has a couple different pre-drilled holes that you can decide where you want to attach everything depending on how you want the steering to be. So I got a couple carabiners here from your local Home Depot. All right guys, the steering cable runs all the way down, and then I popped it into this guide right here. So it goes right above our trolling motor mount, pops into this guide that I riveted into the kayak. So I riveted it there, and then that one runs up and all the way up into the other one, and then it loops around into the other side and then runs under the PWM box, and then that one goes up through some guides all the way to the other end. The reason I chose this system, I saw another kayaker fisherman on YouTube that had a similar installation like this. Little different design, but this is the concept. So it comes up and in front. So I can be sitting here and I can pull back and forth this way to help myself turn. I can grab on the side, however it needs to be. I have plenty of options of how to steer. And when I want to disconnect everything, I just unclip that guy and then pull him back up, and then I just attach it back onto one of these. And it stays nice and tight. So this cable stays on the kayak at all times. So if I don't want to use the motor, unclip it, put it on here, and all this is just a nice rope that just loops around here, and it doesn't really get in the way. All right, let me show you the steering mechanism in action. So I'm gonna pull sideways this way. We'll watch down here at the end and watch this baby turn. So this guy turns this way, and of course it turns that way. We can go back and forth, zipping around the lake there. Everything is nice and good. Pretty sweet, back and forth, nice big turns if we wanted to. This thing was awesome. All right guys, last part of the steering mechanism. So wanted to make sure I could take the trolling motor up and down out of the water in case we hit some shallow water. So you don't want that thing getting banged up and all the things. All right guys, lots of different ways that you can pull your trolling motor in and out of the water. I've seen plenty of different ones on YouTube, but this is how I did it. First thing I did, put a zip tie around our little mechanism right here. This is our little lock that keeps the trolling motor from swaying out this way, okay? So I have unlocked it so this thing can move. Now with the motor running and it pushing that way, it's just gonna push my kayak and it doesn't come up out of the water. Everything is totally fine with that. All right, so I took another little guide, mounted that onto the kayak, got another little carabiner here, and then I run that guy up to the bracket, which has a little pulley. So this pulley, of course, is gonna help take some of the tension off the load, so it's gonna help pull it a little easier. Now that guy runs all the way down and up the other guides here, and then it comes all the way up to here. Now this one is, of course, a little looser. It doesn't need to be as taut because it doesn't matter until I'm pulling it out of the water. So I just clip it here, unclip it, and I want to pull out of the water. I grab this guy and I'm gonna pull it up and I'm just gonna hook it right on here. Okay, so when I pull this guy, so I'm gonna pull this one for you. Watch the trolling motor. Pulls up, out of the water here. So go all the way. Look how high that thing goes. Nice and easy. And then I just take that, put it right there. So as you can see, once we do that, the steering lines become slack, okay? So that's okay. Nothing's gonna really happen with that. Once I put that back down, the steering lines will get taut again, and then everything is good to go. But they don't get in the way, nothing gets tangled, and everything is ready. So let's lower this thing back down. So I'm gonna take it back down, take that off, back down into the water, and plop, everything's taut again. And then all I gotta do is put that on there. And we're good to go, we're sailing. So all the gear I needed for that, bought a bunch of guides with the rivets for these. So these all came in a pack, of course, from Amazon. So the rivets and the guides came with that. I had plenty of those to work with. And the carabiners, of course, came from Home Depot. And then the bracket, once again, from Amazon. So everything is good to go. We are ready to set sail and we're gonna head out onto the water, guys. All right, guys, let me go show you how this thing is gonna work. All right, y'all, update with the kayak. We are out on the water. We are testing it out here. I got full gear going and I got the motor just trolling along for us. So we are cruising, just doing a little turn. A little choppy today out on the water. I know this lake can change a little bit, but just wanted to show you guys an update. Just wanted to show you guys an update on everything put together. So we got the trolling motor, everything's installed. Today is a test day, just trying to figure out, you know, what nice and straight here. But today we are out water, we're just testing it out. I don't have everything back there, like the steering and everything completely finalized, because I wanted to make sure everything worked and got, you know, everything adjusted accordingly. So everything has been running great thus far. Just wanted to probably make a few changes in terms of, you know, the steering here. So the steering, as I showed you earlier, comes up and around the seat. Today, with getting it all installed, you know, get on the boat ramp and everything, you can unlatch it and everything back there, but I want to have a little like cleat up here, or whatever you call it. I want to have another little carabiner that I can tighten, that I can control the tautness with up here in front of me. So no matter when I install it back here, I can always control the tautness. So it's all right, Siri. So it always stays nice and taut, so the steering works, you know, flawlessly every time. But thus far, it has worked great. Pretty flawless. Everything, I'm just cruising across here, as you can see. Pretty sweet. The motor comes up and down just great, like we wanted it to. All right, guys, it has been sweet. I am excited to get this done. Now, the last thing I gotta do is I gotta register this kayak, since it does have a motor on it. So I want to make sure everything's legal, everything's good. And so make sure you do that too if you do this. Make sure you check your state regulations and do everything accordingly. So yeah, guys, this has been awesome. It is sweet. Changes everything, changes the game. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.